Following the successful staging of the inaugural Tour de Free State in 2011, the second race stepped up significantly in 2012 when it was granted UCI 2.1 status, the first women's race on the African continent to gain such significant recognition. The first of four stages took the field on a relatively flat straight ride from Virginia in a southwesterly direction through Tennessee before ending in Brandfort. Stage 2 from Jagersfontein in the southwest to the capital Bloemfontein was 100 kilometers long. The third stage made use of the magnificent mountain passes of the Eastern Free State as the riders completed a 120-kilometre triangle out and back from Clarence. And the final day's riding a 94-kilometre run from Kestel towards Lesotho, including a national park before ending in Clarence. The field of 13 international teams would get to experience all aspects of the diverse and picturesque province of the Free State as they vied for vitally important UCI ranking points over 400 kilometres of high-quality roads. The field assembled for the Tour de Free State was the strongest ever to race a women's event in South Africa. National champion Ashley Moolman-Pasio was excited at the prospect of taking on some of the best riders in the world.
Well, it's a wonderful event for the country, for tourism in the Free State, for the country as a whole, for cycling here. It's wonderful. It's a real honor to have a tour here, and I think it's going to be great. The Free State government is doing a great job, and we look forward to starting the tour.
And they were soon doing just that as the 71 riders rolled away from the start in Virginia under the neutral flag. Virginia was laid out in 1954 after the discovery of rich gold deposits in the area, and now a thriving mining town on the banks of the Saint-Rivier. The race commissaire and the Europcar lead vehicle held the eager racers in check in the short neutral zone through town. Then the flag was down and they were racing. One of the first landmarks they passed was Maryspruit, where in 1994 tragedy struck when a wall of a mine slimes dam collapsed, destroying 31 houses and killing 17 people. Among the teams in the race, the powerful Rusvello squad, world number 3 Emma Johansson led the strong high-tech Mistral Home squad. 5 South Africans, including Moolman-Pasio, were in the Belgian-based Lotto Belisol team, and the Dutch-based Dolmans Bulls lineup featured Martin Braas. Nervy early moments and there were crashes. A change of tyre for Swedish champion Emma Johansson, but worse luck for South African team rider Linda van Bichelaar, whose race ended very prematurely due to the injuries she sustained in the fall. There were a number of others who were hurt, including bike aides Annemie Kruger. Newly elected Cycling South Africa President William Newman keeping a close eye on the racing. The R30 led them through the small town of Tennessee, which was proclaimed as a municipality exactly 100 years ago and as the focal point of the maize, beef and sheep farmers in the vicinity. And it was here that Robin de Groot of Lotto Belisol launched an attack, much to the delight of the excited locals. Robin was among a group of South Africans who were using the tour to improve their chances of Olympic selection. On a broader canvas, the Tour de Free State was the final race on the UCI calendar in which countries could gain ranking points that would determine how many riders they could enter for the Games in London. So plenty at stake. South Africa were looking to move from 17th to 13th to qualify 3 riders. Robin was eventually caught by the peloton platoon. Hanke Kupfernagel of Rusvello attacked and was joined by Sarah Mustonen of high-tech products Mistral Home. But the pair were well marked. The route was flat and fast, taking them along the quiet R30 with Tennessee just about the halfway mark between Virginia and Brandfort. The racing intensified as the teams began thinking of the finish, which was likely to be a sprint, so each team was trying to set up their respective sprinters. But for now, the bunch are all together and going at a good click on the super smooth roads of the Free State, a real credit to the province. Hard-working Robin de Groot still harbouring Olympic ambition, as is the South African champion Moolman-Pasio, who's the country's highest-ranked rider on the UCI list at the time and had finished 5th at the World Cup race at the Flèche Wallonne.
Stage 1 is a typical sprinter stage, very flat open roads. Free State's renowned for its crosswinds, and obviously that will be the dangerous part of the race.
Although the wind was relatively tame, Irina Molikeva of Rosvelo went down, as did Lynette Berger of Toyota CSA. A nasty fall that could have been a lot worse for both riders. The Free State had laid on sensational weather for the tour, and the riders were able to enjoy the beauty of the rural farmlands under sparkling early winter sunshine. With around 10 kilometers to go to the finish, the big-hitting teams are starting to assemble on the front. Olga Zebelinskaya of Rosvelo on their tack, and she was joined by Emma Johansson of High-Tech Products Mistral Home and Alona Andruk of the Ukraine national team. The trio played a game of cat and mouse until the final couple of 100 meters, and the powerful 25-year-old Ukrainian managed to power ahead of Johansson and Zebelinskaya to take her first win of the year.
So my team is very strong now. We control very good race and we stay ahead. They helped me for last kilometers and they control last 7K and I just did the sprint.
A superbly timed effort from Andruk. Ashley Mulman-Passio's aunt is a teacher at Academia in Brandfort, and South Africa's top finisher was swamped by delirious students at the finish. Zebelinskaya was 2 seconds down on the leading pair, with Kupfernagel, Pjenborg and Schara just 4 seconds adrift.
I think for women cycling in South Africa, I think this is a great opportunity and a privilege, and just to put South Africa on the map as well, and also to gain some last-minute valuable points before the Olympics for the gold that's in contention for it. So yeah, for me personally, just to be part of it is a great privilege, and yeah, I'm enjoying every moment of it.
Stage 2 saw the riders start at Jacobsfontein on the southwest of the Free State. Again, a relatively flat stage took them 100 k's to Bloemfontein. The town owes its existence to the discovery in 1870 of a 50-carat diamond by Jan de Klerk, and the resultant diamond rush and diggings left a 19.65 hectare big hole in the town. The neutral flag was down, and they were racing once again under gloriously clear blue skies. Alona Andruk in the race leader's orange jersey, alongside a Mulman-Passio in the Africa leader's jersey. On loan to MTN Quebec, a ladies team for the tour, multiple SA champion Henriette Skuman. With so much at stake at the Tour de Free State, every move was being watched by all the teams. Andruk's Ukraine squad were riding up front. Just behind them, a heavy fall for South Africa's Johanna van der Winkel of Lotto Belisol, bringing down her teammate Mulman-Passio and a number of others in the process. Sadly, van der Winkel had to retire from the tour due to her injuries from the crash. And that crash caused a split in the bunch, and there was plenty of hard work being done by those left behind to limit their losses to the lead group, which numbered 19 riders. And they had a sizable gap over the chasers. Halfway through the stage, now a contrasting, intriguing battle between those who escaped the carnage of the crash and those who were entangled behind it. As a result, the pace was high, and the group was strung out in a long line. Rosvelo were making it hot. Olga Zebelinskaya once again attacking. The 32-year-old was clearly in good form, having finished second at the Celtic Chrono in Belfast a few weeks before the tour. Back in the chase group, African leader Mulman-Passio of Lotto Belisol showing the type of grit and courage she's become renowned for after the fall. She moved past Olega Pavlukina of Ukraine. Her teammate Andruk was getting all the protection she deserved as race leader. Crossed the bridge over the Rietrivier. Sylvia Kapusta of High-Tech Products Mistral Home putting in a strong attack, provoking all manner of responses in the pack behind her. Emma Johansson of High-Tech and Hanka Kupfernagel of Rosvelo. A game of cat and mouse. They were all together now, and the racing was frenetic as teams tried to get away and avoid a sprint finish. Of course, for those teams with strong sprinters, the attacks were futile. Everyone was watching everybody else. Pace intensified towards Bloemfontein. A Among the 19 teams represented at the Tour of the Free State were Eritrea, a growing giant in African cycling, and the first time their top women had raced in South Africa. German Kuffenachel, third in Belfast, was keen to animate things up front. The 38-year-old is a strong time trialist and was maybe looking to solo into Bloemfontein. But she was not going far with the likes of Johansson and company on her back wheel as they raced between harvested and still to be harvested maize fields on the outskirts of Bloemfontein. The Free State provincial capital, host to numerous major international sporting events like the FIFA 2010 World Cup, Rugby and Cricket World Cup fixtures, and now the finish of Stage 2 of the 2012 UCI 2.1 Tour de Free State. And the sprint was on. Vivian Futurescope were trying to set things up for Mauritian champion Oriel Hulbachs. Emma Johansson was on her own on the right-hand side. Moolman Pasio also in the mix as well. Flat out sprinting at high speed. But space up the middle well exploited by Laura van der Kamp of the Dolmans Bulls cycling team, and she shot through to take the win ahead of Johansson and Moolman Pasio.
A victory is always tastes a lot better, but yeah, I had to start the sprint already from 250 or 260 meters, and normally that's a little bit too far out, but I'm feeling very strong. Normally the mountains a bit more my kind of race.
Johansson, the new overall leader, finished second behind a great kick from van der Kamp, and Hulbachs was in fact third and Moolman Pasio in fourth place. Alona Andruk inside the top 10.
The Free State is a very well managed province, and without the involvement of all the people on the ground, a tour like this could never happen. You need the traffic, you need the medical, you need the support of the communities, the mayors. So it's a very big collaborative thing, and Free State Tourism must get huge credit for having put that all together and sponsored this event.
It's a great opportunity for us to come here to learn, to see how the girls race. It's a nice experience to see technical skills and bunch skills, and yeah, I've learned a lot.
After two flat stages, the tour hit the mountains on day 3 with a spectacular out and back route through the Eastern Free State. Clarence, the jewel of the Free State, was laid out in the foothills of Rooiberg in 1912 and named after the village in Switzerland where Paul Kruger died in 1904. Emma Johansson was now in the tour leader's jersey as they headed for the hills. The teams from Eritrea and Thailand, whose top rider is Jutatip Manipan, would be looking forward to a day dominated by climbing. A small group comprising Sylvia Kapustra, Alona Andruk, Victoria Voldina, Johansson and Marsha Pieneborg put in a surge early on. The Frontier Casino, a modern addition to the bustling town of Bethlehem, which was proclaimed in 1884 and is the heart of a thriving wheat, maize, oats and barley industry in the Eastern Free State. The downhill Main Street was fertile ground for the attackers. But the main bunch was not keen to let the aggressors get too far down the road. There were plenty of hard climbs to come. Moolman Pasio, and on the far side young Ashley Blackwell soaking up the experience. On the attack went Sarah Story for the Essential for Via Red team. Sarah was born without a functioning left hand and is a multiple Paralympic medalist in swimming and cycling, and was a member of the Great Britain World Cup winning team pursuit squad of the USA in 2011. The 28-year-old Emma Johansson was the Olympic silver medalist in the road race in Beijing in 2008 and the overall World Cup winner in 2009, and she was looking good to add to her race victory tally the wide open spaces of the Free State in 2012. Some of the smaller teams shared cars with local squads as Emmanuel Melo of VN Futurescope collected a bottle from the MTN Quebec team car. The Eastern Free State is truly one of the most beautiful areas of South Africa, with fertile farmlands and spectacular mountains, all part of the package. Moolman Pasio being well looked after by her Lotto Belicel teammates. Irina Melikova of Rosvelo dragging the peloton up towards Fariesburg. This town was established in 1892 on the farm Groenfontein belonging to Christoffel Fourie. It was only about 10 k's from the Lesotho border. Wonderful support for the riders as they snake through town. For a few months during the Anglo-Boer War, Parijsburg was the last official seat of the fugitive government of the Orange Free State. Today it was a sea of colour and vibrant excitement as the Tour de Free State flew through town. Terrific buy-in from the communities of the Free State. Soon they were saying goodbye to the historic sandstone buildings of Parijsburg. The race big hitters Moolman Pasio and Emma Johansson keeping a close eye on one another. Up the climb away from town, 3 riders away: Lotte Belisels, Lisa Ulifi, Irina Molikeva of Brasvella and Sarah Story of Essential for Via Red. This was the start of the second phase of the Tour de Free State. The mountains as the sandstone cliffs provided a dramatic backdrop to the day's racing. And the breakaway was eventually caught by the hard-working chase pack, with Emma Johansson in second wheel and in complete command, it appeared. Robin de Groot found herself and Ashley Moolman Pasio in a group of 8 just off the front. Also in there were Johansson and Elisia Longa-Bugini of High-Tech Mistral. Behind them, the chasers were putting themselves into huge oxygen debt to try and make the crossing and join what could be the break of the day. On the descent, the riders reached speeds of close on 70 k's an hour, and the lead group, now 19 strong, with all the main protagonists included as they hurtled down towards Clarence from the scenic R711. No time for checking out the view at this speed. As the road flattened out, the attacks came regularly. Ludovine Henrion was passed by 4 riders, the last of them her teammate Moolman Pasio. She was keen to try and get away from the dangerous Emma Johansson. But as they hit the outskirts of Clarence, they were all together again. A sprint finish was in the offing. With a slight uphill drag into the finish, there was plenty of jostling for position. Moolman Pasio came to the right of the road and attacked. Emma Johansson in the orange jersey was onto her in a flash. And the powerful Swede took control of the sprint as Moolman Pasio faded. Showing the form and class that puts only the sublime Marianne Vos and the brilliant Judith Arndt above her in the world, the Swede powered away from the field to take a richly deserved and commanding victory on stage 3 of the Tour de Free State ahead of South African champion Ashley Moolman Pasio. A brilliant ride.
My team has been amazing today. They are really strong at the moment and we are racing really well together, and I couldn't have done it without them. And coming in for the last climb, I felt quite confident. I haven't had to do so much during the stage, and I could rely a lot on my teammates, and that makes it easier to win. And yeah, I'm really excited about tomorrow as well. It's the last stage and it's going to be hard, but I think we are ready.
Anke Kupfernagel took third place. Ludovine Henrion and Robin de Groot ensured Lotte Belisol had 3 in the top 10. Another solid finish for Andriette Skuman. Kestel, one of the 12 Free State towns visited during the tour, hosted the start of the final stage. Over a century old, the magnificent sandstone Dutch Reformed church dominates the town centre.
They have seen such a beautiful, scenic area of the Free State. That is why we have partnered with Cycling SA. Is because we have said these scenic areas need to be seen by the whole world.
Clarence is a very pretty part of the country. Love it to come out here and train here. It's nice altitude training, and I really like this part of the country.
This terrain is gorgeous, and it's nice to be out here racing after the flat days of the first 2 stages. We're happy to be in the hills, and yeah, it's a special day for us, so we'll make the most of it.
Stage 4 is a stage, really big climbs, really steep climbs, 18% climbs in there, really 3k climb into a reserve road. But that's the stage where we see the race winner and the overall being decided.
The riders followed the race commissaire's Europcar vehicle out of town on the R57 towards Pura di Chaba. Once onto the open road, racing time again, and plenty to gain for many riders. With Emma Johansson proving tough to dislodge from the race lead, it was going to take some clever tactical riding by the Lotto Belisol squad, for whom South Africa's Ashley Moolman-Pasio was just 20 seconds down on Hanke Kupfernakel of the Rusvelo team in the battle for second place. And with so much climbing, an ideal day for the tiny rider from the Cape and her team to show their class. And it was Lotto Belisol who were the main aggressors early on, provoking counters from many other riders. Belgium's Ludovine Henrion, a former champion of that country, threw down the gauntlet, and it was taken up by High-Tech Mistral. Then it was the turn of Henrion's teammate Anli Pretorius to try and turn up the heat, with Toyota CS and Dolman's Bulls for company. The early breaks created a lively atmosphere in the peloton, but all of it was shut down by Emma Johansson's High-Tech Products Mistral home squad, so the pace slacked off a little as they headed towards the town of Pudaditshaba in the Kwakwa region of the Free State, and in the shadow of the mighty Kamplamba Drakensberg. Originally known as Pitsisook, it was the smallest of 6 so-called self-governing states, established in terms of the system of apartheid in the 1960s and 70s. The largely mountainous 22,000-hectare Kwakwa Park is made up of plains, hills and valleys, and rivals its neighbour, the Golden Gate Highlands National Park, for beauty. And it was into the latter that the riders turned to begin the serious climbing for the day. And having just passed through the gate, there was an attack. Lotto Belisol, not surprisingly, Robin de Groot was going to put herself up to be shot down as the road tilted steeply upwards. Alone for a while, she was then joined by Britain's Sarah Story, the Escutel Forvia Red team. And this pair set about widening the gap on the main group. Proclaimed in 1963, the Golden Gate Highlands Park is around 12,000 hectares. Its most famous sites are the unique-shaped sandstone ridges and mountains, and is home to a wide variety of birds, including the rare and endangered bearded vulture. These two had flown the coupe, Story and de Groot, on a flight to glory, perhaps? The chase group was being headed by High-Tech Mistral and the Ukraine team, with Lotto Belisol content to sit in. Steepening gradients slowed the whole tour to a crawl, while Story and de Groot pounded away almost 4 minutes clear. The brutal climb soon thinned out the chase group to around 14 riders, with Johansson, Kupfernakel, Moolman-Pasio and the other GC contenders all present. The final part of the climb takes the riders up a narrow single-lane section with a gradient reaching around 18% at times over the last 3 Ks. It's one of the toughest in South Africa, and Story and de Groot were showing signs of strain. De Groot looked to have left the Englishwoman behind. Meanwhile, behind them the forces were gathering, as Moolman-Pasio decided to make her move. Shadowing her was race leader Johansson. If the South African could get more than 20 seconds ahead of Kupfernakel by the finish in Clarence, she would take second place on GC. Now was the time for work. De Groot had been passed by Story, who was next in the lead rider's sights. The multiple Paralympic medalist who narrowly missed out on the place in the 2012 GB Olympic team knew the game was up. On the descent, Italian Elisa Longoborghini managed to bridge across to Pasio and Johansson, and the trio began to work hard on the stretch towards Clarence as the road flattened. Further back, the remnants of the chase group were using the swift descent to regroup and recoup their energy in preparation for a big effort to try and catch the leaders, which they duly did as they left the southern gate of the spectacular Golden Gate Highland National Park. The lead group was now 7 riders strong, and a small bunch sprint appeared inevitable as they closed in on the finish in Clarence. The main threat was likely to come from Moolman-Pasio and Johansson, who was sitting on the back of the group as they turned into town. Australian Carly Taylor of Vivian Futurescope was there, as was Sarah Story, Christel Ferrier-Bruno, Hanke Kupfernakel and the Italian Longoborghini. Around the last few corners it was down to 4 riders. Ashley Moolman-Pasio was leading them out, Emma Johansson in second place, with Kupfernakel ensuring she would not lose time in the GC also in the mix. And it was Ashley who took the win just ahead of the Swede, who claimed the overall title.
the German Hunker from the Rasvelo team just proved to be too strong today, and she came back, and I had to limit my losses and decided that I needed to make the stage victory happen, and that's exactly what I did, and I'm happy with that.
I think the people are very friendly, very warm-hearted, and it's a very beautiful country, and it's a shame I forgot my camera, so I have to come back and make some pictures.
Confirmation of a great result for South Africa's top rider Ashley Moolman-Pasio, who showed that she truly belongs with the best riders in the world and will be in the mix come the 29th of July in the Olympic road race in London. Emma Johansson was undoubtedly the class act at the Tour de Free State.
It's never easy to win a race, and especially a whole stage race. It's never easy. I have been feeling good the whole week, but I never know what's going to come. And today, Lotto, they really put us under pressure from the start in the race, and the team did a good job.
One of the objectives of the Tour de Free State was to profile our women's cyclists and to bring up the UCI points, so it was a really integral part. I think we got a total of 64 UCI points, which was a really, really big chunk. It moved us just clear of 14th spot, so into 13th, which means we qualified 3 instead of 1. The significance of this is that between 1 rider and 3 riders, you have a team that can actually compete for the medal and assist each other. You could say that we tripled our chances at the Olympics easily because of what happened and achieved at Tour de Free State.
The end of a highly successful and well-hosted second edition of the Tour de Free State. We look forward to welcoming back the world's top riders in 2013.